stage, adding to the stage, and then let me remove. Okay, we're live. We're live. If you can hear us, we're live. We are. Ow, there we are. Ray, what's good, brother? Not you on mute.
There we go.
I was about to say not you muted.
Yes,
man, what's up with
indeed.
your video? Your video looks a little artsy.
Oh yeah. We got a little nice little background going on.
No, I mean like the lighting. Your lighting looks a little funny. It's making
let me see if I can
your
change
melanin pink. You got too your it looks like your footage is
see if
overexposed,
we
so you got too much light.
There we go.
That's
There
a lot
we
better.
There we
It
go.
looks like you got light coming from one direction. That's okay. We're gonna get that set up. We're gonna get that.
Yeah.
We're gonna get that together. I'm still waiting on some equipment to. Anyways, we're gonna get that together. I appreciate y'all joining us. So, us two ding dongs responsible for starting the stream on time. Let me just tell you what's going on. First of all, hello. Waiguruji Kukaso, Waiguruji Kifate. I'm Smalls. My pronouns are she, her. Coming to you from Chumash and Tongaland, otherwise now known as Southern California or Los Angeles. Ray, introduce yourself to the people.
Satsuri Akal, I'm Ray. My pronouns are he, him. I'm presently coming to you from Ute Mountain, Ute, and Northern Arapaho Land or Colorado Springs.
Amen. All right. So welcome to Black and Sikh, where we explore the intersections of culture and faith. We appreciate you for joining us on this lovely, wonderful Wednesday evening, another Wednesday Night Live. Black History Month edition. We are still in the throes of Black History Month, dead smack in the middle. It's been a rough Black History Month for a lot of people, and we are not excluded from that camp, fortunately or unfortunately, however you see it. So it's been rough. So let me tell you what's happening. Okay, so I finally got a new phone, right? Because I don't know if I showed y'all. I feel like it, but I think I showed you guys last time. But my phone, I had to have a procedure. A surgical instrument dropped on my screen. I am really good at keeping my phones immaculate. I've never had a problem with my screen breaking, knock on wood, right? I never had that issue. I typically only lose my phone. I don't smash it. I keep it in a case. I don't raw dog my phone, right? Okay. So that happened. Screen went bad. Couldn't use my phone. So I was out without a working phone for a minute. That was a headache. Finally got a new phone like less than a week ago. And just realized maybe, what was it, Ray? Like 20 minutes ago that my phone was on Hawaii time zone. Hawaii time zone. I don't know if y'all know, but Hawaii is 2 hours behind us, okay, here in California. So for me, I'm chilling. I've been chilling all day because I'm like, man, I got a lot of time. I woke up earlier this morning. This is nice. Me and Ray just been back here in the StreamYard, keying it for like an hour, just chilling because we got time. And, I'm putting on my makeup. I'm casually getting ready. I was about to drop by my neighbors and we chilling. And then I walk past. I go to get some juice, right? I go get some juice so I can take my medicine, and because I usually take it like 30 minutes before the stream. So 30 minutes, I go get some juice so I can take my meds. I pass my microwave. I'm talking to Ray, and I go, Ray, what time is it? And he's like, it's like, and mind you, we use 24-hour time, so it's he's like, he said whatever time it was, 17. I was like, are you sure? Because my phone says 4:30. My microwave says 6:30. What is going? And then we realized it took a few minutes because apparently neither one of us is good with numbers, and so it took a few minutes for us to calculate with the time zone and the different times on my phone and micro. And I'm like, was the stream supposed to start an hour ago? And he's like, no, it's only. I thought we were. No, and then we just kind of clicked and we were like, oh hell. So it's not the first time. I'm sure it won't be the last, but apologies if anybody was waiting around for us to start at 5 p.m. My apologies. We just got it. It's been a rough week for us. We've been putting in a lot of work. I mean, we're working on like 3 episodes at once right now. So working on, for those who don't know, we're working on a black hair episode, talking about black hair and Sikhi, which for me is probably going to be the heaviest topic we can cover. So that's been a lot, like emotionally, just, invested in that, dealing with that. But that has also thrown me off because if you see, I made a thumbnail, and I should show you guys a thumbnail, but I made a thumbnail for this video, spent all kind of hours on it. It was up to about 3 a.m. I'm standing at my computer, so I wouldn't fall asleep and so I wouldn't get distracted, working on the thumbnail, and it hit me. This is not the right thumbnail for tomorrow's stream. This is for the black hair episode. Tomorrow is not black hair, but we've been so deep, like working on that, writing that episode, that everything I've been doing has been black hair. So even the flyer that we put out, when I made that, you've got all kind of pictures of our hair on there because I'm thinking the black hair episode is next, and it's not. So that's what's a mess.
I mean, we put a lot of work into that, so I can see why it would seem like that's it. because we've been really
Yeah.
working heavily on that.
And that's just been like what's on my mind, especially because, like I said, that's going to be probably the heaviest topic for me. And this is Ray's first time writing an episode with us as the new co-host, and so it was just been a lot. It's been heavy, but I'm looking forward to it though. I think if I can get through the black hair episode and keep my emotions in check, and um, I think we will. Because the other thing about the black hair, and I don't know if you feel this way, right? But like the more I have to talk about it, it is like it brings up new stuff, right? I'm sort of
Oh
discovering
yeah.
new things that I feel about myself, things that I believe, and like, how do I feel about this? How, because like I first said when I first started practicing Sikhi, I thought, oh, wearing a turban all day, every day, that will be no problem. I wear a hat almost all the time, anyways. Like, I typically keep my hair covered. I'm on a hat or a hoodie or something, and I thought, no problem. And I was so surprised by the way that I felt wearing a turban every day and having my hair fully covered every day, all day. It was some emotions and feelings that I did not expect, which sort of forced me to contend with the fact that, like, oh, my hair is more important to me than I realized. Like, it's more significant to me as a person and as a black person and as a black woman than I realized. And so it's bringing up a lot of those things, right? And like being on
Yeah.
camera all day. And every time I get ready, what am I wearing today? Because I mostly work from home, so I don't always get dressed. I give myself a uniform, wear the same thing all the time. So what am I wearing today on live? Should I put
Jealousy.
a turban on? Should I put a hat? And I'm like, and I always go, no, I'm not gonna put on a turban. I'm not gonna do that just for these people. So we'll talk more about it during the episode. But um, so yeah, I was just wondering, what are some things that are like have come up for me? I mean, we don't have to talk about it too much because we do have an episode that we want to get to. But I just was wondering, since we're on it, have some things come up for you, some new things that you've learned in the process of producing this episode.
Certainly, certainly. So I can agree with you. Same thing for me with hats because, like, to be honest, I'm obsessed with boots and hats, like, period. And so I definitely collect both. And when I say hats, I'm talking about of every style. The only type of hat I don't have in my collection right now is a bowler. I'm still looking for one. But cowboy hats, all of that have them. So I kind of felt would feel the same way. I'm like, okay, yeah, great. I don't have a problem necessarily keeping something on, but one of the things from covering this, just as we started working on it, I acknowledged that while I'm comfortable with my baldness and I've become comfortable with that. Us writing and talking a bit more about hair brought up emotions and made me realize again that there are times that I do still miss a lot of what came with taking care of black hair or my hair. There's a lot that's into it, and I miss a lot of it. Heck, I miss sometimes getting in the shower after I wash my hair and being able to swing and just
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So I'm looking forward to that episode. Then we also have an episode that we're in the middle. We just started producing, which is the solidarity episode. So a history of Black and Brown solidarity, between Black Americans and South Asians, and we're going to talk a lot about a lot of the parallels that are between Black American culture and Sikhi and the founding of Sikhi. And like I just remember when I first started reading about Sikhi, so much of it resonated with me. I could relate to so much of it, and the fact that it was founded during a time of immense oppression for Punjabi folks, and um, the whole reason that the gurus directed us to wear a turban in the first place, and that sort of being one of the original clapbacks in Sikhi history, right? Is what we'll call it. So it's been pretty dope. And so speaking of, let me tell you a little bit about what we got coming up for today. So we wanted to talk about I don't know what you call it, like the emergence, or we've seen a lot of new converts. I'll put it to you like this. Soorma and I, when we were first talking, we were in the middle of recording an episode actually, when he said, I think, and you guys can probably see it on the episode. I think it's episode 2. We've only released like 3, so it's like 1 or 2, but I think it's episode 2, where he says, at one point he felt like he could name all of the Black Sikhs, or I think I was the one that said it. Like he said, he thinks he knows all of the Black Sikhs that exist, and I said, I feel like I can name them all, right? And not literally, but we just knew most Black Sikhs, and now we're seeing so many new Black Sikhs, so many new non-Punjabi Sikhs, and so many new Sikh converts, that it's been awesome to see, right, to see more and more people, which is again is one reason that sort of pushed us to realize like this might be the right time to do this project, because we're seeing so many new converts, so many people joining and finding and embracing Sikhi. And we wanted to have a conversation about why you think that is, because one of the through lines of many, not all, but many new converts is um, the fact that many of them are from marginalized groups or marginalized communities, whether it's Black, whether it's woman, whether it's
Yes.
queer or trans or poor people, or, people who feel ostracized or who experience life in the margins. Um, that is sort of seems to be a commonality among a lot of people who are finding and embracing and practicing and joining Sikhi in these last few years. Like I said, it's been about 8-9 years for me. Um, but in the last, I would say, I don't know, 3 or 4. And one of the reasons why I know this is because when you first search Sikhi and you try to find out if there's any Black Sikhs, right?
Yes.
The content pops up, right? Ray was talking about this too. Like you start to see who was there. So you would see Soorma, and then I've had people say, I found your interview with Cat Black, and I found this. And so we get a lot of questions, right? And hey, I'm Black and I want to do this. And so that's kind of how we're aware that so many new Sikhs are joining us. And we love that. So many marginalized people are now joining Sikhi, I should say. And so we have some theories about why that is. We're gonna see if what y'all's take on that is. If you guys have any theories about why so many marginalized folks are joining it. Soorma says, well, let's back up. So we also wanted to highlight like a comment of the stream, because we do get a lot of foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But we want to highlight some positive stuff. We want to highlight some good stuff. And before we get there, no, let's do that first. Let's highlight the stream. I'm gonna go a little bit out of order, right? I'm gonna highlight the stream, and then we're gonna talk about the stream sponsor. So let's see. Kimmy, I don't know if you're there, but I actually put the comments in the Discord. If you can pull up on screen. If not, don't trip. But let's see. Do you have your did you choose your comment?
Yes, I did. I did. Let me.
All right, let's. Oh, do you already have it up or no? Because I got mine up. If you got yours, you can go first.
Oh no, I didn't have mine up yet. I was trying to get to it.
Let's see. All right, so this is I'll go with mine. So I pulled a few, but this is the one I'm gonna choose for today's stream. This is by Sonia Sandhu, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really see it. Sonia Sandhu, a few weeks ago on our Instagram, says, as someone who was born into a family of origin, i.e. from Punjab, I, as someone who was born in the United States, resonate with what you are saying. Many of us also feel like outsiders because we separate our faith from the culture. And so this is one of the ones, this is on one of the videos where we were talking about that blurring of the lines between culture and religion, and how they're two separate things. But when you're coming from an ethno-religion, which there's a debate about the definition of ethno-religion and if Sikhi falls into the category of an ethno-religion, it does to me, based on my understanding of ethno-religion. It does to me because as many as 97% of Sikhs are Punjabi. And that's not to say all Punjabi folks are Sikh, but at least 97% of Sikhs are Punjabi. And so, it's I would consider it an ethno-religion. And so there can be some blurring of the lines, right? A lot of times when people sort of maybe want to check you about some things or ask questions or whatever, and you have to kind of remind them that's more of a culture thing. I think that's more about Punjabi culture or the way like Punjabi Sikhs have traditionally practiced Sikhi, but that's not specifically a part of Sikhi. And so when you are somebody who is practicing the faith or who has this like sort of spiritual path, this spiritual journey, but you're not a part of the culture, or you're from a very different culture, or however different it is, a different culture, it's a lot easier to see those borders and see the differences, right? So this is why this was my comment. What about you, Ray? What you got?
Okay, yep. I was trying to get in there. Hold on. Let's yeah. It looks like it's giving me a little bit difficulty, so I won't pull mine for this one. Keep going.
All right, so that'll be our comment for the stream for today, and we're gonna try to highlight at least one comment every stream. So if you drop a comment on our YouTube channel or our Instagram page, we are more likely to see it. You can drop a comment on TikTok. I don't venture over into TikTok land as that often. I go when I have to, but to me, TikTok is kind of like the hood, right? Like it's like I'll go when I gotta go, but I go kind of.
If TikTok is the hood, what is X?
It's not the hood, not with Bozo running it. I don't know. I don't think it was ever the hood because Twitter was just, first of all, I'm not calling it X, number one. Twitter was the place, where Black Twitter popped off, where a lot of things where Black Twitter made a lot of things a now common part of culture, like live
True.
tweeting along with shows and things like that. So I don't ever think that Twitter was the hood. I think like when people say like the hood or the ghetto, I think they just mean like a lot happens or a lot goes on or it's wild over there. But I don't see it like that. A lot of like community building happens. Twitter was very much like a town hall for me. That's where I would go to engage in conversation. I've learned so much from like other scholars and psychologists and people in academia and activists, and I've learned so much from Twitter. I love Twitter when it was a thing.
From Twitter, not X.
But right,
X.
X still is not the hood. X doesn't get that. Now, mind you, when I'm saying the hood, I don't necessarily, the hood is not all bad, right? Like there's also some good things. I don't see nothing good with X right now. So Twitter doesn't even get that. They don't even get that label. Like they're not worthy of being labeled the hood. Now, TikTok, on the other hand, it's kind of like the Wild Wild West. Like you go there, you might get shot. Like you might get a stray. You might get anything. But you also gonna get a lot of dope things too. There's gonna be a lot of innovation over there. There's gonna be, that's kind of where you go to get the first news about what's happening on the internet streets. That's why I feel like TikTok is the hood, right? Because it can be dangerous. But hey, if you can handle it,
makes sense.
It comes with a lot of rewards too. I just don't know that I can handle it. I grew up in the suburbs. Okay, I'm sensitive. All right, so I don't venture over into TikTok too much. But anyways, the point is, if you drop a comment on one of our social media pages or on YouTube, Instagram, YouTube being the main ones, we might read your comment. We might highlight it. We also got some giveaways. Remember, I said last week that we have a sponsor for Black History Month, and that is Yaya's Gifts. I was saying that because I wanted to pull it up, and then I forgot to actually pull up the website. But it's yayasgifts.com. Yayasilver.com is also how you can get to it. But we're working on navigating that domain. But Yaya's Gifts, YEYAS gifts.com. That's our sponsor for today's stream. And if you use the code BLACKxSIKH, which our YouTube, our name, our social media handle, BLACKxSIKH, you can get an additional 10% off. So even if something is already on sale, you can go ahead and get an additional 10% off if you use that code, and that'll last you through Black History Month. We also want to show you some of the jewelry. I was actually headed to go pick up the jewelry to show you guys and to show you for the giveaway when I passed by my microwave and was like, what time is it? So didn't have a chance to do that. But it's really dope. I have on this piece that I wear all the time. It's just it's a regular solid chain, sterling silver. Silver happens to be the only one of the only metals I can wear because I have a metal allergy, believe it or not. And so I also got this bad boy too, which I got for my birthday. Did I get this one for my birthday? I think I got this one for my birthday last year. Not this one for my birthday last year, and then this one for my birthday the year before. Because the owner of this business is somebody I also happen to know, and I'm really proud of her. She's been doing her thing, and so we want to support any way we can. So if you are in the market for some sterling silver jewelry, for some items, men, women, children, there's all kind of stuff. Men, women, babies. Go ahead and shop at yayasgifts.com and go ahead and use that code BLACKxSIKH. That helps support us, lets them know that we sent you, and it also supports a Latino owned business. So we try to support small businesses as much as possible. So we got a lot of changes coming up in BLACKxSIKH. That's what Ray and I were just keying about when we realized what time it was. So we'll get into those changes a little bit later. But we appreciate y'all patience and sticking with us and all that good stuff. So let's get right into the main topic.
Yes, indeed.
All right. So here's what I said. Okay, so I've kind of broached the subject a little bit, right? The fact that something that we've noticed, a common denominator with a lot of new recent converts, is that many of them are members of marginalized groups, right? Black, Black, queer, trans, disabled. A lot of the new converts fall into some member of a marginalized group, belong to a marginalized community. Lord have mercy. I said I was going to slow down, and I'm still talking over myself. All right. Yeah. And so we want to know what you guys would attribute this to, right? So some of us have a hypothesis. Soorma famously credited Guru Nanak Ji and his self-proclaimed status as a friend to the friendless, right? A friend of the oppressed, a friend of the marginalized. And I think that does make a lot of sense. I think it speaks to how Sikhi was founded and the principles on which it was founded, and its early history and things of that nature. And like I said, there are a lot of parallels between the founding of Sikhi and Sikh history and Black American culture.
Well, well, there's something to be said too for the fact that one large aspect, I think, for a lot of people, one large aspect is the social justice aspect of it. Because when you're already talking about marginalized people, you're talking about people that already kind of have that need to fight, that need or want to fight to even to survive. So
Right, right.
it just makes sense that these people would gravitate to something that encourages that or fosters that, versus you have some other out there that are that are a lot more turn the other cheek kind of deal.
Yeah, yeah,
And you
yeah.
what
That's what
happens
I.
when you run out of cheeks, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. That's and we were that was on that's on the list of reasons. So we're gonna actually go through this list of reasons why we think, like, our hypothesis. But we also want to know from you, if you're listening or if you're watching this on the replay, if you're part of the replay crew, leave us a comment. Let me know what you guys think in terms of why do you think so many people of marginalized existence, of marginalized experience, gravitate towards Sikhi. We kind of called it like a magnet for members of marginalized communities. But so the Nov came up with the word sanctuary, and I thought that was pretty fitting, right? If you think of like what a sanctuary city is, for those who don't know, a sanctuary city is like a city that has that will not that's a little bit safer for immigrants, right? For undocumented folks, a sanctuary city where you don't have to, you can go and get help and, go to the police and without fear, supposedly without fear of deportation and being mistreated and things of that nature. So a sanctuary,
Yes.
a place of like respite. I called it like a soft place to land. And so we're going to go through a list of those reasons. Ray mentioned one, but we can just start with from the top, right? Which is,
Okay.
and so let us know if you're watching live, drop a comment, let us know what you guys think. Also, I want to know where everybody's watching from. I would love to know where y'all are in the world. Our analytics say our main audience is in Canada, UK, Australia, and Italy. I think US is like fourth or something on that list, which I find quite fascinating. It doesn't totally surprise me, but I would love to know where y'all are watching from. Last time we had somebody from New Orleans and we had somebody from Toronto. And so let me know where y'all are watching from. Additionally, let me know why you think so many marginalized people resonate with Sikhi, or gravitate towards Sikhi, I should say. One of the reasons that we came up with when we were thinking about this and having conversations about this is that folks, like a lot, like Soorma said, Soorma's quote about he had a fear of hell and damnation, but his love for Guru Nanak was stronger than that. His love for Guru Nanak was stronger than his fear of hell and damnation, which of course gave us our theme for Black History Month and maybe even moving forward, which is that our love for Sikhi is stronger. So despite maybe any of the negative experiences that we might have practicing Sikhi, which we don't blame on Sikhi, the faith, we know that people are people, humans are fallible, right? So one of the first things in addition to that is that Sikhi, a lot of people are able to resonate with Guru Nanak Ji and the lived experience of some or all of the other gurus, right?
Yes.
The story of the founding of Sikhi's history. So I don't, yeah, what do you think? What do you think about that?
Definitely. I think that a lot of people can look to a lot of those stories, especially because you're talking about a lot of these stories that have more relatable, living, breathing stories behind that. Like I said, the struggles that many of them went through, we know all too well in marginalized communities. So I definitely think that's a large one. When you learn those stories, um, it does engage people.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. The second one is I think I'm lagging on my thing. My streamer is being weird. So if for some reason you guys can't hear me or something happens, I freeze something, let me know because it's really behind here. So anyways,
It's not just you. Mine was doing it for a sec too.
okay. Might be a streamer thing. All right. So what do we have for number two? So number two was one that Ray mentioned already, was that social justice as a core tenet of Sikhi. And so what we mean by that is so you might have other faiths that sort of speak to social justice in some sort of vague or like abstract way or in a broader sense. Sikhi is the first religion, first faith practice, whatever you want to call it. I know some people don't like the word religion. We're going to call it religion for the sake of communication right now. Okay, so Sikhi was the first religion that I encountered, that I learned about, that really had a strong, let me put it like this. It doesn't matter if it's the first or the only. I would argue that Sikhi has the strongest stance on social justice out of
Yes,
all of the religions.
agreed.
The strongest, most explicit, most clear directive about social justice, about the fact that all people are created equal, but also about the fact that we should be fighting for social justice. We should be fighting for justice. We should be fighting for other people. We should be fighting for each other. You are your brother's keeper. You are your sister's keeper. All of that, right? And regardless if there's another religion that speaks about social justice, I don't think it has a stronger or clearer or more direct stance on social justice than Sikhi does.
Agreed.
What do you think?
Very much agreed. Because yes, you can get a lot of vague information or telling you, okay, yeah, look out for other people, love other people. You get some of those wording. You get some of those wording, but only in only in Sikh have I seen, and I've read quite a bit of holy books because, for one, I'm a history buff. For two, I love theology in general. And so I've read a lot of different people's holy books, and Sikh is the only one where I can say that I looked at the Guru Granth Sahib and it was like, hey, this is right here. It's here. This is here. So
Yeah, under no uncertain terms, is Sikhi important, and it is Sikhi. Is social justice important to Sikhi, and it should be important to anybody who follows the gurus and Sikhi. I know, and something I want to say is that I don't think that, like Black people are marginalized people that are the only people that care about social justice. And I'm not even saying that everybody who's part of a marginalized group is intentionally a social justice warrior or is intentionally identifies as somebody who fights for social justice or is a freedom fighter or anything like that. But what I'm saying is that when you live a life of like marginalized experience, you sort of inherently, just as a means of survival in society, you sort of inherently become an agent of social justice or an agent of the system, right? The oppressive regime. And that's not to say you can't be both, but if you're fighting for your rights, if you are standing up for what's right on a regular basis, if you're fighting for yourself, even not even others, but just yourself, there's an element of fighting, of participating in social justice that is just already there. It's like baked into your existence, your lived experience, because how else are you going to survive, right? So
if
whether
I
you're
might,
queer, trans,
it's something to be said that when the larger society, which is true for marginalized folks, when the larger society um, is oppressing you, your very existence, the fact that you continue to exist, is a political statement.
yeah, for sure. Um, so in order to actually, I don't know what I was about to say after that. So let's go to where are we, number 3?
Yes,
Uh-oh.
yes. Sikh is for the warriors, the radical, the activists, and the freedom fighters.
Right. So we just talked about how not everybody would identify as such. Not everybody is really, I don't know, intentional about being part of social justice or whatever. But I would say that if there's any religion that is sort of designed for people who do identify as warriors, for designed for people who are radical, whether they identify as radical or not. And let me just to be clear, I think a lot of people have different definitions of radical, but something you can see on my Instagram page is this graphic I made because I found this quote by Angela Davis that said, radical just means grasping something at the roots, understanding it at the roots. And what I take that to mean is, you know, understanding any issue that we have in society and being able to drill down to the roots, the cause of it, right? So I remember when we were talking about the fact that there's a blurring of the lines between culture and religion, and sometimes people come at us wild, and somebody commented and sort of blaming it on Punjabi culture, and I was very clear, and we always try to be very clear in that I don't think Punjabi culture is to blame for that. Like, Punjabi culture is not inherently bad, it's not inherently
No,
problematic.
no, not at
That's
all.
not how it works. Culture it's just culture, right? But a culture is made up of its people, and we know that people are fallible and people are imperfect. And what I said was, the issue is not Punjabi culture. The issue is the tainting of Punjabi culture by things like white supremacy and all of the many things that kind of I call it comorbidities of white supremacy, right? It's how you get these the colorism and all the other foolishness, the things that like Britain brought over to India and
Yes.
folks brought into the US, white supremacy, right? So being able to understand, being able to take an issue or a problem or a concept like, why do we have this problem of the blurring of religion, and why do we have homophobia, and why do we have this and that, and being able to drill down to the root of the issue, the cause, right? Audre Lorde talks about, she's a writer, a scholar, poet, she was, talks about how we often need to make sure our fight is vertical and not lateral, right? It's easy to blame each other. It's easy to fault the people that are in your line of sight, the people that are around you. But it's important and a lot more difficult to realize the problem is the people oppressing us, which is not usually the people who are in our same position. It's the people above us, right? It's the systems at play. It's the institution. It's like colorism, the issue with colorism, texturism, featureism, racism, that is not, I mean, yes, it's an individual problem, right? But it's mostly a systemic and it's institutional problem that comes from white supremacy. And so being able to drill that down to the root of that matter is how Angela Davis defines radical. And so my theory is that Sikhi is like a prime religion and faith for people who are radical, for people who want to see change, who want to fight for the liberation of all oppressed peoples, who understand that our fights are interconnected, that even if you do hate me because I'm Black, even if you do hate me because I'm queer, if you're oppressed too, your freedom is tied to mine. So I'm still fighting for all of us.
It was born from that. It was literally born from stepping aside or separating from what the status quo was.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if you want to speak to that a little bit more, for in case anybody's watching who doesn't understand, when we say Sikhi was born during a time of immense depression, probably depression too. I don't know. Sikhi was founded at a time of immense oppression for those in India. I don't know if you want to speak to that a little bit, or I can kind of give them a quick recap. It's up to you.
Well, of course, it was. Yeah. Hold on. I'll let you speak to it. I don't want to say anything wrong. I'm nervous to speak to it.
So we don't want to get into a deep history lesson here, but the gist is, I think again, I love the example of the turban. The reason that we wear turbans, right? There's a couple reasons, but the reason I call it one of Sikhi's original clapbacks, right, is because my understanding or what I was taught was that at the time that Sikhi was founded, or at the time that Guru Nanak was alive, only elite, only like royal, only people of a certain status, I should say, a certain caste and a certain status wore turbans. It was not something that everybody wore. It was not like a common thing. And it was only for people of a certain status. And it was sort of how they signify. So we talk about signifying too when we were writing like the Black Hair episode, but it was a way to signify their status and who they were as people, right? And so you wouldn't dare see at that time, you wouldn't dare see somebody of a lower status, a lower caste, or not the appropriate status wearing a turban. So Guru Nanak Ji was like, bet, got you. So we're going to wear turbans, right? Like not only are we going to wear a turban, we're going to wear two. How about that? Okay. So you got your underneath, and then you got your main turban, right? And then another aspect is so that other people can identify you as Sikhs, right? Yeah. Comes later. But a lot of that was Guru Nanak Ji's a way of fighting back against the oppressive system, the system of oppression that was in play and that was present at the time in India.
Yeah, the caste system specifically. It's
yeah. Said, but not just caste, right? It was also.
My bad. It's the reason that when Langar was served as well, everyone was to come in and eat at the same level in order to represent, of course, that no one was above anyone else. We were all eating together, and that was regardless of who you are and where you came from.
Right. And so when we talk about like the founding of Sikhi and maybe why it resonates with folks who are radical and folks who are activists and freedom fighters and other senses. Again, I think it's like something that if I had to design a religion, I said this before, I think I told this to Ray last night, but if I had to design a faith practice, if I had to sit down and say, what would my faith practice look like? What would it be? What would we believe? What would our core tenets be? What would our principles be? I mean, Sikhi is basically it. It's like 98% there, You know, like I don't know that I would have, you know, other like mandates about hair and stuff, just knowing what we know now. But like it's there, like 98%. There's only like one thing about Sikhi that I'm like, I don't know about that. And it's not something I totally disagree with. It's just, anyways, maybe that'll come up one day. Probably not though. But anyways, so the next thing that we kind of, I guess the next part of our hypothesis, I guess you want to call it, is what I call the 80-20 rule.
Ooh, explain that. What is that?
Yeah. Okay. So the 80-20 rule. Now, if you ever want to hear like the 80-20 rule explained in like a really funny way, I guess, I think Tyler Perry says it in this is not me promoting or advocating for Tyler Perry, okay? Just to be clear. But Tyler Perry says it in one of the few movies of his that I actually watch, and it is Why Did I Get Married and Why Did I Get Married To? And that's because Janet Jackson is in it, okay? But he talks about the 80-20 rule, and it's like the concept of like us believing that the grass is always greener. But the theory or the concept is that in relationships, the most that you're going to get is 80% of everything you need and want in a partner. If you have the best partner in the world, the most perfect partner, you think it's your soulmate. It is the
Yes.
person that God, Guru, Waheguru, whoever you believe in, it's the person they sent for you. It's the person they made for you. You can feel like that about your partner. And regardless of all that, the most you're going to get is 80% of everything that you need. Why? Because people are people. We're humans. We are not gods. We might be part of the divine and all that stuff, but we are still humans, right? And so the most that somebody can get from you is 80, and 80 is if you're doing good. 80% is if you're compatible and everything meets and everything matches, but something in there is not going to be perfect. So you're going to be missing maybe about 20%, like, right? Like maybe you guys align on everything except, I don't know, sex. I'm bringing it up because for some reason it's the first thing I thought about. I don't know, but say like you guys are just different, like not completely compatible, but you just make it work because you love each other, right? This is one of the things that a lot of people who practice ethical non-monogamy or polyamory talk about, where there's no expectation that any one partner is going to be 100% of what you need. There's no expectation that you have to be 100% of something, 100% of what your partner needs. There is not that expectation, because maybe your partner gives you 40% of what you need and another partner gives you 50% of what you need, and you're getting this, and like there's this overabundance of love, right? And so I believe that that's true, right? So you got your 80-20 rule. Well, the thing is, a lot of times people will cheat or leave or do whatever because they see the 20%. And you hear this a lot of times if you ever watch those like advice shows where people call in and they talk about the affair that they had, and they're like, there's this guy, Dr. John Deloney, and he says whenever he's confronting somebody who cheated, he will say, or who was thinking about cheating, or who just had an emotional affair, he will say, what was that person giving you that you weren't getting at home? And that's not to excuse what the person did, but that's because that's usually what happens. Usually that person is maybe validating you in some way that maybe your partner has stopped doing, or that you didn't even know you needed. Maybe your person that person you're cheating with is having or having an affair with is giving you the attention you need, or they're boosting your
Filling a
ego, or
void.
they're filling that void. They're giving you that 20%. And the thing is, that 20% can shift over time. That's the thing. It's not to say that 20% is stagnant. Maybe at the beginning you got that 20% was filled by your partner, that void, or that missing 20%. It was provided by your partner, but things changed. You had kids, you changed jobs, you did whatever, you've grown, you changed as a person. And now you have something else, but you don't have that same 20%. And so often as humans, we are sort of conditioned to focus on and to pay attention to the missing 20%, as opposed to the 80% that we do have, right? It's like with comments. I have to mindfully and consciously go look for the positive comments, because it's easy to get 10 positive comments. This is dope. Heart emoji. Love this. Can we see more? This is awesome. I support you guys. Here's a DM and it's congratulations. And I love what you guys are doing. And then you get the one comment that's like, the gurus don't love any gay people. Yeah, nobody said that, but like they'll be like, the guru. I wish that was all they said. This is stupid would be great. No, they say stuff like, the guru doesn't like gay people. He did not love queers, or Sikhi is not for queer people. Stay away, or like those are the type of comments you get, right? Like, and despite the fact that you just got 15, 20 supportive comments, that one is going to stick with you. That one is the one you're going to be thinking about. The one is going to be easy to recall. If somebody said, recall 20 positive comments, we've had way more than 20, but that'd be a little bit difficult to recall them verbatim. But the negative ones, I can tell you them word for word, right? Because it sort of sticks with you. And so that 80-20 rule talks about the fact that Sometimes we focus on that 20%, or that 20% is more glaring, and when you get it from somewhere else, or you feel like you have to get it from somewhere else sometimes. Why am I talking all about this, and what does this have to do with Sikhi? It was the only way I could sort of describe what I'm about to say, which is that for me and to me, and in my opinion, Sikhi is one of the very few faith practices that to me will give you as close to 100% as you're going to get. I think you get way more than
Mm,
80% from Sikhi.
okay.
And I'm saying that as somebody who was like raised Christian, went to Christian school my whole life, but also went to a Catholic university, right? That has studied a lot of faith practices. I mean, if I've heard about it, I've studied it, I've tried to learn about it, I've done some research, right? And to me, Sikhi was the only one that gave me far more than 80%. Like I said, for me, it's like 98%. Okay. Um, and so to me, that's why it sort of resonates, right, with a lot of people who maybe have a marginalized experience. I don't know,
Okay.
what's your thoughts on
Yeah, I can definitely agree. Because so surprisingly enough, that's kind of what I did too. I definitely did some shopping around, and I think that I've mentioned that in
it? I like
some
that, shopping around.
of some of our prior videos that we've done as well, where I mentioned I had a time period where I was like, and this was a little bit after, because there was a short time, of course, where I was atheist, but I also still believed that there was something. And so there was a point in time after I got over
Would you
being
say,
angry.
quick question, would you say you were more agnostic then? Like if you
Um,
felt like did you not believe that there was, was there ever a period where you were like, I don't believe that there's anything out there? Or were you like, I
yes,
think there's something out there, but I don't know what it is?
there was.
Uh,
I switched
Okay.
from angry with the with the religion I was in at first, and so angry, left that, decided there was nothing, and then sat in that for a little while and realized in my heart of hearts that, well, no, I'm not sure that's quite right, and that's when I switched over into agnosticism. And then at that point in time, I thought to myself, well, wait a minute, there's all these different faiths out here. There's a lot of people that believe in so many different ways. Why am I deciding to completely write off faith altogether because the one that I knew and I was raised with didn't work for me? So I decided at that point in time that I would check out multiple avenues. And when doing that and shopping around, like we said, I found Sikhi. I looked into it a little bit further, and I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute!" And I have a thing that I like to do. I will start looking for the bad stuff to tell me this is not what I'm going to do, because
Mm-hmm.
what is this this faith stance on this? What does it say
Mm-hmm.
about that? What does it
Mm-hmm.
say? I'm doing all of that because I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to try to convince myself not to do something before I invest in it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely. I mean,
wasn't able to do it with Siggy. I
yeah,
couldn't find.
I mean, same for me. I went and I was trying to dig up all the dirt, right? I wanted to know. I was like, if you're gonna say we believe all these good things, but also black women suck, like like I didn't think that literally, but I was just like, there's got to be something. There's got to be something because you're not. I'm not gonna get more. No religion is perfect. No faith practice is perfect, right? Especially not one as young as this. Like, how could it be? That was just like my thinking, and that was coming from being raised Christian and going to all these Christian schools and studying. And the reason I mentioned going to a Catholic university is because when you go to these Christian schools, religion courses are required. They're not electives or alternatives. Like, you are required to take the religion courses. And so when I was in university, I think you're required to take, I can't remember the number of hours. You don't have to take it all the years that you're there, but you have to at least take one or two theology courses. I can't remember. And taking that theology course where you're not just, it's not, to be clear, they're not just teaching you like you must believe in God. It's like especially on the university level, you're getting into translation and history and the authors and breaking down what we know about the authors, and are we able to how much of this are we able to correlate and with historical records and blah blah blah. We're talking about all of those things, right? And so I kind of realized at that point, I sort of accepted, like, all right, well, Christianity will never be perfect. And I don't even know how much of it is true at this point with all the different translations and things changing and these different versions of the Bible, which I first realized when I went to my first Catholic high school. Um, like, I don't know, like, how much of this, but I sort of like resigned myself to just dealing with the 80% or less. And so I didn't think that there was anything greater. I thought with whatever faith practice I chose, I was going to have to compromise some of my beliefs or whatever. Like I talked a lot about I mentioned how Islam was really close. I was really close to choosing to go that route,
Yo, we
but the
haven't
things
talked
around
about that.
gender
I
and
was too. I was too.
yeah, so the things around gender um, were the things that I could not compromise, and that was like a major thing. And so I ultimately could not. I just couldn't choose it, right? But then I found Sikhi and was like, oh, this is much more than 80%. Oh, this is. I was like, it can't be 90. So like, and I just kind of did research to find out how close I could get to 100, and boy, we got close. But yeah, were you saying we got to talk about Islam? What were you saying?
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that one of these days because I had the same experience. I was almost sold at one point too. But yeah, so yeah, this conversation for you a later day, either offline and or on screen. That will be yeah.
Yeah, I think we should. I think for that conversation, if we do it online, we definitely should bring somebody who is practicing Islam, maybe some converts, or I think they call them reverts. I don't remember.
Reverts, yeah.
Yeah, so we should bring somebody on who has converted to Islam later, and then maybe somebody who was raised in it. That would be dope. I would love to talk about that because I know I've talked with a lot of Christian people about how you sort of reconcile these things that Christianity says one thing, but you really ultimately at the core believe something different. And I think
Mhm.
it's every person's right to choose, and if that's what you
Yeah.
want to do, I think you absolutely have the right to do that. For me, I was just hoping there was something more, and turns out I was right, and it's Sikhi. Ha, okay. um all right, so you want to go to the next
So
one?
oh yeah, I'd love to. So one of the other things, of course, discussed was that not all, but many marginalized people, especially here in the United States, are survivors of Abrahamic religions. Uh, some of which fit the bite model, which, along with the whole boogeyman or Satan fear of hell and damnation, have kind of been used to control us. So for a lot of
So
people, it was
so
get.
let me say this because so right, you can do because he's kind of like going through this because I wrote this down in my own words because it made sense to me and I was just writing down like keyword reminders. But so essentially what I was trying to say, and the reason that I use survivals and I talked about the bite model is because um a lot of people who practice Christianity, depending on how you were raised, and I think this is true for pretty much any religion, you can have religious trauma, right? And so that's
Mhm.
why I say survivals, and the fact that some religions, but also some sects of religions, and some so Christianity is this whole religion, but then you have individual churches, and some of those churches are run like cults, and
Yes.
that is true for any religion, right? You might even have not might, we also know 3HO. Okay. And so what I mean by fit the bite model is, if for those who don't know, there's the bite model is sort of how you can kind of figure out if something is too close for comfort, like too close to being a cult for comfort. And it's an acronym, right? It talks about behavior, information control, things of that. So
I
that's what I
mean,
meant when I
and
said some of which fit the bite model. And by some of which fit the bite model, it was just my very diplomatic way of saying some of them are culty, some of them are culty, and so some
yes,
of us, many but not all marginalized people are survivors of one Abrahamic religions, but two religions or sects or offshoots or churches or whatever that
yep.
are pretty culty. Okay,
I
and we
mean,
know
I
that the fear of Satan and the hell and
yeah.
damnation is something that has been used to control us since our existence here in the country, in slavery and beyond. Go
I
ahead.
mean,
I just wanted to like
and
make
we
that clear.
definitely did go ahead and continue to foster that even to this day. Because I remember when I was in school, I had a good friend of mine who, their families, I would go over to their house and spend a lot of time with them often. I was friends with their daughter and their son. We all were at the same school. And sometimes on Sundays, because I'd be over for the weekend, I'd go to church with them. And I mean, they went to a church that was supposedly Baptist like mine. That's what it was called. But they all lived on the
The name
same.
said on the marquee.
Yeah, I mean that. So they all lived on the same street um, as everyone that went to that church. And
So the whole church lived in the same neighborhood on the same
yeah,
block.
yep, and so everybody knew everybody, everybody knew everybody's business, and it would get brought up in sermons sometimes.
Oh,
And the my friend's parents, if they had problems or something, they would immediately call pastor. And so then they had to deal with getting scolded and dealing with their pastor as well as him giving information. It was crazy. And
yeah.
so I got to sit through and witnessed when the daughter, who was a good friend of mine, started noticing or discovering that she was bi.
Mm.
Um, she was beaten. They told the pastor. They decided for whatever reason that she didn't need privacy anymore, so they decided to take the doors off her room. And then they told the son, which was also my friend at the time, that if he ever came out and told them that he was, that they would cut his dick off and kill him.
Okay.
And so and all this information was conveyed to and shared within the church. All these people that live on the same street. So it's like now everyone knows everything that's going on. And so if you defer from all this information, then you're going to be ostracized. And this is by your block, you know?
Right, right.
This
Yeah.
was
So
supposedly
that
the same kind of place that I went to.
right, right. So that's the religion has been used to control people for a long, long time, right? If you go back to one of the first things they did with enslaved Africans was, besides cutting their hair and stripping them and separating them so that they could not speak to each other because we were not speaking English, and take away forbid them from practicing their spiritual traditions, their typical, basically strip them of their culture in every way, right? And then bring in Christianity. Now we know it was a warped, tainted, bastardized version of Christianity, but it was Christianity nonetheless, and then
Hmm.
prevented them from learning to read for multiple reasons, including not being able to read the Bible for themselves. But I think that that is something that has been passed down since then. I know so many Christians who do not read the Bible for themselves and will just parrot whatever they have been told by their pastor, their parents, the rest of the community. I see that even in Sikhi though, right? Because again, humans will human. Um, but yeah, like religion, that fear we talk about, I know Ray, you called it like the boogeyman, but using Satan and the fear of hell and the fear of going to hell as this sort of like carrot that you hold over people, right? Like this thing, you're gonna go to hell, you're gonna go to hell, you're gonna go to hell, you won't go to heaven, you won't go to heaven, you're gonna go to, it's like this constant like fear tactic that is used to control people, to get them to
Yeah.
do what you want them to do, to live how you want them to live, to behave how you want them to behave. And oftentimes it's not necessarily because you want them to be better people, it's because you
No.
want to control them, right?
Yep.
Like, and I think Sikhi is the perfect sort of like antidote for that foolishness, because it's like, I don't know how many people have said, what we have in Guru Granth Sahib Ji is not a list of rules and rituals that you must do, that you must perform, because we are trying to get to A or X, this destination, right?
Yeah.
It is a guideline for your life. It is a lifestyle. It is a way of living and existing. It is not like a list of hardcore, hard and fast rules that you must follow. And if you don't follow this, if you don't do this thing, this is what's going to happen. You're going to go to hell. There's not a concept of hell. Somebody in the comment section said for them, hell was being separated from God. And I've heard people talk about that sort of concept of hell. Um,
Hmm.
I've heard people say for them, hell is like a state of mind, or it's the repeating the same life, going through the same BS here on earth over and over, and never getting closer to God, right? So there's a number of ways different people describe their concept of hell differently. But I know for Sikhi, we don't have that concept of this big fiery place where Satan is sitting on his throne of fire. I don't know, whatever it is. And people are running around with pitchforks and it's torture. We don't have that. And
Yeah.
so it's less of be good and do good because of fear, and it's more be a good person, live a good life, help people, try to do better because that's the right thing to do, not because you're scared of going to hell or you're scared of Satan, right?
Yep. I
Like,
mean,
I
and
love that.
and I think that's the other thing, that whole aspect too, unfortunately, is one of the things that keep people connected as well, or keep people trapped as well. Because for a lot of people, even if they are starting to fall away for whatever reason, or finding some incompatibilities with that way of with that belief or that way of thinking, that fear initially of that whole boogeyman effect, like I said, is deep rooted in you from an early on. And so even when you start to exit or start to look into other avenues, you still will question. I know many people do. I don't know if it was the same for you, Smalls, but for a while, you will continue to question until you're secure in this new path that you're on, whether or not am I still going here? Is that still a reality for me? What if I'm wrong? And it's because it's something that's generally drilled into you.
Yeah, no, that's not the same for me. I didn't have that. I mean, even when I was practicing Christian, something about this idea of hell and heaven was always kind of weird to me. But a lot of that goes back to, again, how you got to heaven and how you got to hell. At least what I was initially taught, right? Which was like, in order to get to heaven, according to Christianity, you need to say and believe these things, which meant that anybody, regardless of the life that they lived, was able to get to heaven at a certain point, which means you're up there in heaven kicking it with a whole bunch of people who potentially are horrible, terrible people, wreaked havoc and just did a whole bunch of damage. But then at the last minute of their life, they said and believed these things, and now they're according, right? Because those questions got asked of the pastor, and the pastor, yes, because God is a forgiving God, and da da da. Something about that seemed off to me. And so if the idea of heaven wasn't quite right, then the idea of hell for me wasn't quite right. So that was a really easy thing for me to let go of. I didn't have that fear. And again, I had like this 2-year buffer period between leaving Christianity and finding Sikhi, where I was able to really wrestle with and question all of my thoughts and beliefs, and researching other religions really helped with that. But yeah, so I was speaking in general. I definitely did not have the fear of hell and
Hmm.
damnation.
Okay.
But
Okay.
but yeah, different for everybody. Like I said, it's a
Oh yeah.
monolith.
Yeah.
Let me read
Yeah.
this question or this comment. This is from, I think it says, I don't know exactly what is it, Prince Sack. I don't know. Such I don't know. 50 says, I want to be sick, but I don't want to grow out my hair for looks and fashion sense. What do I do? I don't know. I don't know if I'm the right person to answer that. I don't know if there is a right person to answer that. I don't know if there is a right answer for that. Now, unfortunately, I only saw the second part of their question, which was, hair is the hardest part of Sikhism. And then I said, totally agree. But that's because I didn't realize what they were saying. So I now take back that comment. Disagree. I don't think hair is the hardest part of Sikhi in terms of, and I think it's going to be different for everybody. I thought they meant something completely different just based on what I had said before. So I just want to be clear about that. And I've said this before because somebody I can't remember who it was, but this was pretty recently too. Somebody said um, the whole thing with having to grow out your hair and your beard is a thing that deters some people from Sikhi. Now, I didn't know that was the case. This is my first time seeing that. When the person said it, I was like, who would turn away a whole religion that is perfect for them because of one element, and an element, and I'm not saying it's an insignificant element, right? I just finished saying hair is the deepest part of it for me. It is the most complicated part for me. um and my response then was like, Sikhi might not be right for them, right? And I think, as I'm saying it, and as I have a real person saying that to me, I think that's still my answer. That's maybe Sikhi is not right for you. Maybe it is, and maybe that's just, you kind of just have to wrestle with the hair thing.
I
But
have a different thought. And so my thought on that is, and surprisingly enough, this comes from, because we just mentioned this earlier, but this comes from a similar concept that I found that Muslims tend to have. I feel like if the faith is right for you in every other way, then just follow it, because no one else
yeah,
gets to tell you.
that's what I was saying.
Yeah, no one else gets
Well,
to
I was
tell
trying to.
you that you're not enough of a Sikh. You practice, and maybe somewhere down the line you may decide that this is something that you want to observe, but no one else gets to tell you you're not a Sikh. No one gets to tell you that.
Right. Right. So, just to go back, so just to finish what I was saying. So,
Oh,
um,
sorry.
if you learn and you research everything that there is to know about Sikhi, and you know all of the other stuff and all of the good things and all the things that draw you to it, and the aspect of hair is keeping you from it, then Sikhi might not be right for you. And the reason I say that is because, um, to me, all of the other good things far outweigh the hair element, right? Um, because as significant as the hair element is to me, as heavy as it is, as important as it is, all of the other stuff is still worth it. It's still worth me wrestling with the hair stuff. Like, all of the things that I get from Sikhi makes dealing with that worth it. Makes me having to fight with that and contend with it and ask questions and all the stuff I've been through, which you guys will hear some of it during the episode. But it's all worth it. And so my thing is, if you don't have that experience, if because I don't think the hair thing can be any more significant to other people than it is for me. Like, and the reason I'm saying that is not to say it's not significant or important for other people, but I'm saying it's the most important thing. It is the heaviest thing for me. And I know how much I've wrestled with it and how much I've done. And like, if all of the other aspects of Sikhi don't outweigh that for you, Sikhi might not be right for you. And at the same time, if
Gotcha.
you're able to see all of those good positive elements and also realize that I don't have to grow my hair out if I don't want to, because what's somebody gonna do? Shoot me? Like, I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people
Exactly.
might tell you you're not a Sikh. People might tell you you don't belong. And okay, they're just people. They're not the gurus. Like, they're not God. And so my saying that Sikhi might not be right for you is to say, you should really only be converting or deciding to practice another religion if you want to, if it's something that you feel pulled and you feel called to do. And for me, that pull, that call was a lot stronger than all of the issues that I had with hair, right? And so that's what I mean. Like,
Gotcha.
I would really question
Agreed.
why you're converting. Why do you want to practice Sikhi, right? And if you can list all of those reasons why, and all of that doesn't outweigh the you wanting to grow out your hair stuff, it might not be for you, right? And if it does, then go for it. And if you don't grow your hair out, you don't grow your hair out. I'm not gonna tell you not to do it. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. Um, I will say, you have to decide like how important is like looks and fashion for you and why, right? Like, as somebody who's my social handle is hella swanky, right? Like, I've been involved in like fashion and arts and things like that and self-expression in some form or another my entire life, right? Like, I was called a naughty baby. My mom runs a fashion boutique. Like, I'm very much into fashion. I'm very much into style. I'm very much into, like, when I get dressed, I fully get dressed. Like, you know how some people they're only going to be on camera from here up. Like, no, I got on pants, bro. I got on pants that match. I put a full outfit together because otherwise I feel weird if I don't. Like, I feel incomplete if I'm just sitting here dressed and I got like makeup on and this from the top up, but then I got like on pajama pants from the bottom. I can't do it, right? And I'm saying to say, like, it's super important for me. It's super important. That's not why I don't wear a turban. Because let me tell you, I can still look fly and fashionable with a turban. I've done it.
Yes.
I can do it at the drop of a dime. I have a turban in every color.
Yes.
Like, I can do any style of turban I want to do. So looks and fashion, that ain't gonna stop that. It's kind of like this is so off topic, but you know how, like, especially like Americans, they really be complaining about like not upstaging people at their weddings. Like, you're not supposed to wear white to a wedding. You should never look more dressed up than the bride. You should never take away attention from the bride. Let me tell you something right now. If I
That's
had a
her
wedding,
fault.
that's how I feel. If I have a wedding, you need to come dressed to impress, because it doesn't matter what you wear, you are not going to look better than me. Like, you're not going
Hello.
to outshine me. If there's only
Hello.
one day of the year and it's mine and I feel that important about it, it don't matter what you could come in a gown. It don't matter. You could come in a ball gown and you still not going to look more fly than me. And that's how I feel like brides should be. You worry too much about what the audience and other people are doing. If you can't make yourself look good and feel fashionable and feel fly and all that stuff, working with whatever you got, we got to go back to the drawing board. We got to figure it out. But don't put that on for other people. So fashion and looks, I don't think that should be a good reason. I'm not saying it's not a
No.
valid reason. I'm just saying, don't let that be the one thing. And I think that's how I'm looking at it, where it's like, it would be different if he was like, it's a culture thing and I get that. But if you're like, it's a look and fashion thing, it's like a Stinson stuff. That to me, how I'm hearing that is, you haven't gotten to the good part about Sikhi.
Also,
That's how I sort of feel. Like, if that's something
yeah,
that's like
agreed.
deterring you,
Agreed.
you ain't got to the
Agreed.
good part.
Also, I got to say this too. Not that it's extremely relevant to that portion, but just touching on what you said about the style thing. I see so many sings and chorus that look amazing all the time. All the time. I
So
follow a lot
fly,
of accounts. So fly.
so fly, all the
So
time.
I
Like,
don't know where
I
that's
mean,
coming from.
I see Sikhs, turban, no turban, beard, no. But I fly on a regular basis. On
Yes.
a regular basis, right? And I'm like, you got the coordinate with the mushroom shirt with the mushroom socks. If y'all don't know, that's from Boomerang. And that's something that I was in camp and somebody said that to me, my camp counselor. Because
Mhm.
of the way I dress. Like, I've always been known for like being like the fly kid, right? Like, even with my uniform, I'm gonna wear a certain undershirt and it's gonna match my socks and my shoes gonna go with it. I wore a uniform my entire life and I was still looking fly, right? And that's not me, I'm saying, like, that's how much I'm into fashion and style and self-expression. So I get it. I'm not dismissing it. I'm just saying, the rest of Sikhi is so dope. It's so
Yeah.
it gives me everything I need. That even as important as like hair and fashion and style is, it still don't come close to like all the other positive benefits that I get from Sikhi, right? Like my love for Sikhi is stronger than that. Is
Hello.
what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Let's see what else we got. See, I just wanted to be clear about that because I was like, oh yeah, totally agree, and then I didn't see the top comment, so not totally agree, but kind of get it. All right. Somebody said to Google something, which I guess we will do later because I don't know what that is and I don't know what it's about, and so I'm not gonna Google in the middle of the stream. So thank you for that. I will keep that in mind. Something about the Quran. So we'll check that out. All right. So those are like the main points. Like, how long have we been here? Oh, we got good timing, right?
Oh,
Look
yeah.
at us. Look at us. We're getting better and better.
Yeah.
So we're gonna wrap it up here, but I just wanted to remind you guys that we got a couple more things before we go. But I just want to remind you guys, the sponsor of the stream is Yeya's Silver. It is a Latino-owned business, small business that we are encouraging you and imploring you to check out. Give it a once over. You can go to yeyasgifts.com. Yeya is spelled Yeyas, like Yeya's, possessive anyways. Yeyasgifts.com, and you get an additional 10% off using the code BLACKxSIKH. And again, that's in addition to anything that's already on sale. So if it's on sale, 10% off more than
Did
that.
you see the
If you have
little
any
Mickey
issues,
Mouse one on
holla
there?
at me and let
I
me
want
know.
that one.
Huh?
I want that. The
I've
little
seen
Mickey
almost
Mouse one.
I've seen almost everything. Sorry for popping in the mic like that. I'd be trying not to do that. I really do. I did that. I've seen almost all of her inventory because, fun fact, I helped her do a lot of this stuff for the business. I helped her like name some stuff and put the stuff because that's what I used to do for a living. I used to help people start their businesses, like so small businesses. Hey, I have this idea, or hey, I'm already doing this, but I need to brand, or hey, I need a business name, or hey, we need like I would figure that all out. I did branding for a long time, so I have seen a lot of the inventory, not all of it because it's been a couple years. But she's got some dope stuff. She's got some dope stuff. I'm just trying to be a responsible adult and not spend all my money. But she's got some dope stuff. So I would encourage you to check it out. Yeyasgifts.com. Use the code BLACKxSIKH. And you get an additional 10% off on top of that. And like I said, doing that supports not only the small business, but it also supports Black and Sikh. Let them know that we sent you. And yeah. All right. So any other shout outs? Okay, so we're raising funds for the month of February. We know we're midway through the month, but we want to keep going with this project. I'm gonna be real honest. A lot of this has just come out of my savings, making sure people get paid because no free labor, and we understand the concept of free labor, and I'm not here for it. Maybe I will share my story of my first and last internship in Hollywood. It was an unpaid internship, and it landed me in the hospital, and I don't want to talk about it right now, but having had that experience sort of opened my eyes to the fact that I was being taken advantage of, and that this whole concept of free internships and unpaid labor and the expectation of unpaid labor is unethical at best. And so we don't operate like that. So folks are allowed to volunteer, so we can always use your help. If you know anybody who would like to help, who would like to donate their time, who would like to has any talents you can offer. I mean, everything from, hey, we need somebody to draft this email real quick. Hey, we need somebody to do this research real quick. Hey, can somebody do X? Hey, we got to pull these assets for the show. I mean, there's so much that goes into this. This is what I do. I work on BLACKxSIKH full time. Part of that is because like I have a chronic illness, so I can't do 2 full-time jobs anymore. I'm too old for that now. I'm getting old. But we are raising funds to keep this project going. And so if you are able to, in addition to support, one way is to support our sponsor. Let them know that you are a fan of Black and Sikh by shopping there, supporting a small business, and you support Black and Sikh. Another way is straight up donations. That is probably what we need more than anything. Unless you are able to edit videos, then yeah, we need like admin help and all that other stuff. But we definitely cold hard cash because things cost money. Everything from the StreamYard plan to stream to paying for the making sure the editor gets paid to buying domains to doing it all costs money.
Yeah,
so
I gotta put some gotta be able to put some logs in that fake fireplace behind me.
I was like, what logs? I was like, where is he going with this? Like, what logs? Yeah, that's funny.
I'm pointing in the wrong direction.
You are pointing in the wrong direction, but it's all good. But yeah, that's how we're on Cash App, we're on PayPal, we're on you can hit us up, I think through Zelle, maybe even. It is all available. It's easy. So you can go straight to PayPal, you can go straight to Cash App, and you can donate. All of our links are in our bios. What else? What am I missing, Ray? Uh, Everything is BLACKxSIKH. So if you're like wondering whether something's us, if you're trying to find us on a certain platform, it's BLACKxSIKH. Like it's there. We are BLACKxSIKH on platforms we don't even use, but we have the
Yep.
account, right? So
I
BLACKxSIKH.
have
So
found us
spread the word.
everywhere.
Also, if you know about any programs, we're also looking into grants right now. So there's a couple grants we will be applying for. That's another way to support. And probably one of the best ways is just by watching the YouTube videos, right? In order to get to a certain level on YouTube, we need to have a certain amount of watch hours. I think it's like 3,000 to start off with. And we are on our way, but we're not there yet. And part of that is us just needing to put out more content. And so we will get there. But again, we are limited on people doing the work. We got a very small team, and Ray and I, we're trying. We've been writing like every day. I think, Ray, I've seen more of you than I've seen, I don't know, anybody probably in the last couple weeks here. Which luckily I like looking at your face, your handsome face, and I like working with you, and you're very compatible. But we have been putting in the work in terms of writing and producing these episodes and stuff that we have coming up, and getting excited about it and enjoying it. But yeah, so if you want to support, that's how. Another way, so like let us know. Ray, did you know? Wait, we gotta check this out before we leave. Wait. They tried, because I know you don't know, because I was trying to tell you and then I got distracted because ADHD, and then we got to talking. So I know you don't know this. And because they tried to email you and that email address did not work, that Yahoo thing that you gave me didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So let me show you this. I got a surprise for you, bro. Let me see. I hope it's like actually up and I'm not like making stuff up. Hold on. Do you have any idea of what it is?
Are you talking about the
Oh shit.
let me reply to this how many we got to, because we do. Oh yeah, you pulled it up already. Awesome.
Huh?
Oh no, I seen it came up. Someone asked if we have a Discord channel.
Oh, I think Kimmy is handling that.
Okay, awesome.
But yes. So what I was saying, do you know what the surprise is? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, is this what the submission that we did? We submitted some videos. I'm trying to.
Oh, submission. I thought you said mission, like mission work, and I was like,
Oh,
mission. We haven't done no missions. What are you talking about?
we submitted some videos to. Goodness, we did look good, and we so busy. I forgot exactly what I even said, but I know what you're talking about.
My computer's running mad slow, and of course it reloaded. So let me see if I can pull it up this way. Yeah, I just saw the email. I think they sent it at like 4 yesterday morning. Oh, here it is. It was so small I could not even read it. But there is a link. Wait. Uh-oh, we gotta play this. Hold on. Let me see. Let me put it on mute. And just FYI, mine is this is the response I got. Was first of all, I didn't know there was a time limit. Okay, so sue me. They should have said there was a time limit. My bad. Y'all know I'm long-winded. Part of that is like anxiety, trauma, right? I'd be worried people are not gonna understand me and that I'm being unclear, so I can be long-winded. I understand that. Okay. However, I got a reply back saying yours were a little long and we have to edit them, and so we don't know. And I was like, oh my god, my bad. And so I was like, do you want me to reshoot? I'm so sorry. And she's like, no, it's fine, it's perfect. So I was like, okay, my bad. So mine was a little long-winded. So mine is not out yet. I think it's coming out next week. I think I also did mine after yours, because I was in the hospital when the deadline hit, or actually I got out like the day of the deadline, and I messaged her and I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm just getting out of the hospital, I'm gonna do it right now. She was like, wait, no, just like you can do it later. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So I thought I hit send. I just sent that to Kimmy, but I also did that so I could send it to myself so I could pull it up. Bear with us, y'all, bear with us. Things are moving slow because Jesus, mind you, I'm not working with a computer. I'm working with a Microsoft Surface Pro, which no shade to Microsoft or Surface Pros. They're really like glorified tablets. They're not like heavy duty computers, right? And so I'm putting it through a lot. I'm expecting my poor Surface Pro to do a lot. I originally got it because I've been a MacBook user for a long time, since college. And when that one I outgrew or was kind of getting old and it was time for me to get a new laptop, I couldn't really justify dropping $3,000 when I didn't need the the MacBook stuff. At the time when I first got my MacBook, I was doing video and audio and graphic design and all that stuff. I wasn't doing the things that I'm doing now. So I was like, I can't justify buying a MacBook. So I got a Surface Pro. And that was lovely and that was great. And then now I kind of do need something a little bit better. It doesn't have to be a Mac, but my poor laptop, it just be going through stuff. Do we have a Discord? We do have a Discord server. It is not open to the public yet. It is right now. It is invite only. We're making sure everything is fine and making sure it runs smoothly. It's been look at that. The Discord server is currently in invite only beta mode. Send us a message on Instagram or TikTok if you're interested in a link to join. That is exactly the correct answer. Remember? See, right? I was like, Kimmy got it, right? Like I didn't know it, but Kimmy got it. But that is exactly what I was about to say. We do have a Discord server. If you would like a link, let us know. It's invite only. We would expect you to not share this link with the public because again, we're trying to get things working. We're making sure we have all the right channels and what should be a forum and what should be that and should things be private and do we need to verify people because we also want it to be a safe space. And what I mean that literally. I mean, like, I don't want people, in there trying to get information and get tea, because not everybody is a fan of Black and Sikh. Not everybody is a fan of Black Sikhs. We have had a number of people tell us and let us know in no uncertain terms that they are not happy that Black people are joining Sikhi and converting. And that's okay because they're not God. I don't care who they are. They're not any of my gurus. They're not God, so I don't care. But I'm saying all that to say, I want to make sure it's a safe space, and we all want to make sure it's running smoothly. And so we do have a Discord server. We had it for a little bit now, and we're just making sure it's cool and running well. So if you want in, hit us up. Kimmy, do you want me to play? I can present. I don't know if you got the link. I didn't see any. I don't know if you're in private chat or responding. Okay, let me pull it up. Let me present my screen because I don't see any response from Kimmy. So let me. I got it pulled up. Where do I go to present? Oops, not that. I'm kind of scared to present from my screen only because my shit's moving slow. So let me see if I go to. Oh, we got it. Okay, right there.
Oh wow! Did you watch it already?
I haven't seen it. This is gonna be my first time seeing it with you
Oh,
because it came in right when we were talking. We were trying to get ready for the stream and talking about the content that was supposed to go up and not going up and stuff like that. So, and the email font was like real small. I don't know why, but I couldn't read it. And
I'm nervous. Okay, here we go.
All right, so here we go, y'all. This is let me tell you a little bit about what this is. So we had an organization that I think reached out to Nov, I believe, and they were in the process of doing something for Black History Month. And I'd already heard of the organization, but I wasn't sure what they did. And so Nov forwarded and put me in touch with the person. And they asked if we want to participate. And I was like, what do you mean by we? Like, do you mean like me? Do you mean like the team? Like, what do you? And they were like, if you have a Black Sikh that can submit and do this. And so I asked a couple people, and like I said, I was in the hospital at the time. So I was like, oh, I want to make sure we can get something in on time. And so I asked Ray, I was like, can you do this tonight? And he was like, yeah, I got you. And so we will see. Cause this is a lot of this is pretty much off the cuff. Cause I remember telling him and I was like, can you do this like now? And he said, yes.
And I was still
so
in med-u. I was still in
Yeah.
med-u, so I'm getting home after all my studying this
I
stuff.
I don't know that
legit
anybody knows
finished
what
studying.
med-u is.
Oh yeah. So I was in because I'm a medic in the military, and so there was a university thing we had to do. I was basically having to learn stuff in one day for a subject about 4 hours in that day, and then take a test every day. And I was doing that for weeks, and there was a lot of information. And so I got home that day. I got that message. I did all my study, and I was up hecka late studying. Turned around, did my submission, and went to bed.
Yep. So we're gonna see. I'm sure it's gonna be fabulous though. So yeah, Kimmy, you can hit play whenever you are ready.
Hello, I'm Raymond. I go by Ray.
Hello, Raymond.
You can use he, him pronouns for me. I am Sikh. I practice Sikhi. As a Black Sikh, I think the biggest challenge is being taken seriously in my faith because it's a lot more common, of course, for Black or African Americans to be Christian and to some degree, of course, I guess I've met a lot of adherents to Islam as well. It's a lot less known, or you do meet a lot less Black or African Americans that practice Sikhi. So, with that being said, I've run into a lot more instances where when I do acknowledge or inform those of my faith, it's not always taken seriously, which can pose challenges for those that wish to wear some of Sikhi's articles of faith. It can pose challenges when getting religious accommodations or waivers and things of that nature for wearing, for example, turban or keeping what's called kes, or not cutting unshorn hair. These things can be difficult because for Black or African Americans, because again, many don't even know much about Sikhi, and those that do generally only expect to see a person of Punjabi origin. For me, I don't always tie the star or tie my turban, partially because, for one, like I said, I run into situations first and foremost where I'm not taken seriously as a Sikh. So, in the event that I step into an area where someone expects me not to, or I am under employment uh, and it's not accepted, me pushing back against that is not generally expected or respected either. So that's a challenge. I think the important thing is what we over at Black and Sikh are doing with our current work, and that drawing more representation of Black Sikhs.
Man's got his interview voice on.
There is, of course, a separate culture. There is a such thing as a Black American culture. Um, and I do, of course, embrace my culture. And I do also um, practice my faith because I don't believe that either excludes the other. I practice my faith. I celebrate both. But I also believe that my Sikhi is going to look different than someone else who has a different background. That is not to say that there aren't, of course, teachings and things of that nature to draw upon. However, my walk will certainly look different than another person's. So when you interact with me, you will be interacting with Ray, who is a practicing Sikh, who is also Black. You're not going to get one or the other. So I celebrate both. I'm proud of both.
Hey, my man's a rock star. Hey, look at that. All right. So you about to get clowned for that interview voice, bro. You know you about to we as Black people, especially like I think every Black mom out there got an interview voice, right? Where she like hollering at you, then the phone rings, you go, put that shit, put it down. What are you doing? Hello? Hi, how are you? Yes, no problem. I can come up to the school. He did what? Raymond did what? Oh, wow. That is not acceptable. We will deal with that. Absolutely. Hang up. What did you be doing at this school? I told you about. And it's not just a matter of like yelling, right? Like you change your voice. Like everybody does it. Like everybody does it. It's code switching, but it's like a whole another level of code switching.
Yeah.
And I used to clown my mom all the time because her interview, well, we call it her phone voice. Your phone voice is so different than her regular voice. And I mean, like, it's a couple pitches up. It's like, hello, hi. And then she's talking to you like this. Like, she's like, this girl called me the other day. Hello, how are you? Yes, absolutely. I've never heard Ray speak like that in my life. Like, mind you, we haven't known each other that long, but I ain't never heard you speak like that in my life. And he's like, yes, I am also Black and I am a Sikh and I am both. I am proud of both. Yes, I'm here for it. I love it.
Hey,
all right. I love it. We just gotta clown. So anything was about to say. So yeah, let's get out of here. Anything else that you wanted to share before we dip? We're like right on time right now. This is one thing I want to say.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, I see that comment there, and I definitely was going to address that. I know we talked about it before, but I also would definitely be comfortable with answering that question. I'd probably message them myself because that's a question that's going to require a bit more. But I'd be happy to reach out and give you some of my experiences.
For sure. Just to read the comment, I try to also read the question or the comment that comes up because some people are sometimes just listening.
Yeah.
So it just says, can you talk more about how it's been for you being Sikh in the army? I started my journey 6 months ago, and many people try to discount me of being Sikh because of the stigma of keeping my hair. And I think if I'm saying this right, Alan Clements, I'm kind of assuming. I believe you also left a comment. And Ray was actually the one that pointed it out, but yeah, I would love if you guys could link on that. There's apparently a lot more of y'all than I realized. I had no
I'm
idea,
very
but it
excited to
does
talk
make
to
sense.
you. I'm very excited
Yeah,
to talk to you.
actually, I think that's something. I don't know if you, considering there are so many. Apparently, I don't know if that's something that you want to just like have a whole live stream about. I can kind of like be the support and like, you know, just kind of. I don't know. However, I can support the stream, I will, because I don't have any military experience or anything like that. But I think that's something that we should definitely talk more about if because it seems like there's a lot of people. It seems like there's a number of people who would benefit from having that conversation, even if it's just other people not in the military who want to understand more. Got one more comment. What's your opinion on Khalistan? You will never know. Just mainly because that's not for me to speak on. That's a complex issue, but it's also not mine. It's I'm not the right person to speak on that. I don't think either of us are. And
Agreed.
so, if that's a topic that a number of people are interested in having, we can absolutely help to facilitate that, like in another form or format. But I try to be mindful. It's like I heard a podcast not too long ago. That was talking about like LGBT issues or whatever, or a situation that happened on Twitter, I guess, a while ago. LGBT issues. Neither of the people were LGBT. Like they were talking about us and about our community, and like they need to do this and they need to do that, and like it was like a really awful experience to listen to. But and it seemed just mostly inappropriate because they were talking
Yeah.
about us and like
Yeah.
kind of at us and telling us what we need to do and not do and why did we do this and criticizing us for without anybody there to speak to it. Right, I'm sitting there listening like, yeah, but I can understand why they did this, or I can understand why he said that, I can understand why that happened. But you wouldn't have that perspective because you're not a member of the LGBT community. You don't have the same
And
experiences and lived experiences
yeah,
as us. So I get why you feel the way you feel, but you're missing an entire wide range of perspectives, and it's really
yeah.
not for you to speak on. And so that's how I
I was
felt
about
about that.
to say
That's how I
that.
feel about stuff in general, and that's how I feel about
Yeah.
Khalistan. Neither one of us are the appropriate people to speak on it, and I'm not going to give my opinion for the
Yeah.
sake of salaciousness or for controversy or for whatever sake. There are
I,
real
I
people
wanted to
involved in that.
say something about that too. And it's just getting exactly, I'm agreeing with what you're saying when I say this. It's kind of like, sure, I can have an opinion, but why give it to you? Because that's not my lane, to put it plainly. It's not my lane.
Right. Okay, so I think that's it. I don't think we have any more comments, questions, concerns. I think we will dip out from here. Call it a day. Call it a night. Apologize for the tardiness. We were literally sitting back here in StreamYard waiting for 5 o'clock to hit, and apparently we both suck with numbers. So but I think I'm gonna have an alarm on my phone from now on. I'm gonna just make an alarm like, you have 20 minutes until the stream is supposed to start. Get your shit together. I think that's it. Yeah. YayasGifts.com. Again, if you want to donate, if you want to support, there are a number of ways to support. Again, engaging with our content on YouTube is the best way. Watching the videos. I actually have a playlist on my personal channel of videos that for like channels I want to support, and I would just add like random videos. I did the same thing with Boss Attorney Bree, who's going to be a guest on the 28th stream. We have Boss Attorney Bree coming to be a guest. We're going to have a specific topic, and she's going to give her legal analysis on that thing, and also have a bunch of different conversations. She streams every Tuesday and Thursday evening. That's going to be great. She will stream there tomorrow. Boss Attorney Bree, BRI. And I forgot where I was going with this, but my point. When she was first trying to get qualified for those first few viewing hours or whatever, I made a playlist and I just let her content run while I was asleep, and I still do that. Like when I remember, I will put the playlist on, I will hit play, and I will let it run. And I will clear my cache and my cookies and do it again the next night. And I'm not saying you guys have to do all that. My point is there are a number of ways to support and engage aside from monetarily and aside from labor. And that's one way to do it. It's just to engage with the content on YouTube specifically, because good resource for fundraising. So anyways, we're out of here, y'all. I appreciate the time. We appreciate y'all joining us right here at the intersection of culture and faith. I am Smalls signing out. Ray?
Afro Turban Guy or Ray. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you next time.
Waheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji ki Fateh. Peace, y'all.
Alrighty.